All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Andre Ward and Canelo Alvarez and what Andre Ward had to say in the case that Canelo Alvarez did not rematch Dimitri Bivol, and basically, it's some punk-ish. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be in the 175-pound division where Canelo Alvarez has punked out against Dimitri Bivol against the advice of Andre SOG Ward. Now, before I get into the subject matter at hand, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you so much for your support. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we release more videos. All right, man. Andre Ward was interviewed by, I always forget her name. She was interviewed recently in an interview where he talked about a bunch of different things. One of the main things out of the interview that he talked about was the sanctioning bodies and how needing to know what the sanctioning bodies are actually doing for fighters. Also, in the middle of this conversation, he talked about Canelo Alvarez and his loss to Dimitri Bivol, and specifically said that even though he had advised Canelo Alvarez, he would have advised Canelo Alvarez to leave Dimitri Bivol alone, to leave Artur Beterbiev and those guys alone, that he had seen those guys fight, went to watch him train, and knew that they were very, very serious guys. Said even though he had advised Canelo Alvarez, basically stay at your pay grade, that because he didn't stay in his pay grade, if he was going to behave like a champion, that he had to go back and rematch Dimitri Bivol to prove it. Since he stepped up there and challenged him, got the rematch clause and all of that, that he, in order to be behaving like a true champion, needed to go back and have that rematch with Dimitri Bivol. However, that is not what Canelo Alvarez has chosen to do. Canelo Alvarez has chosen to tuck his tail and go over and fight a 40-year-old Gennady Golovkin in a rematch that wasn't nobody asking for and does not prove anything, instead of fighting Dimitri Bivol again. He had a rematch clause to exercise and thought better of it. So according to what Andre Ward had to say about it, that is not acting like a champion. That is basically, I don't know what else I can say. That's some punk-ish. And it sounds like that's what it is, man. However, this has been, this is not completely par for the course for Canelo Alvarez, but I'm telling you, I do believe what this is that Canelo Alvarez is acknowledging, number one, that he cannot beat Dimitri Bivol. If he really believed that he was robbed or that he had won that fight and that was a winnable fight for him, he would go right back in there and fight that guy in that second fight. Or it could be the case that because his pay-per-view numbers were not very good, around I've heard estimates between 250,000 and 350,000. I'm not taking what comes out of Eddie Hearn's mouth, because if Eddie Hearn says that it did twice that and then some, that's what you're supposed to say. According to Dan Rayfield and Leonard Ellerby, somewhere between 250 and 350,000 pay-per-views. They may say, look, man, we can't spend all that type of money in this rematch. It's not going to work for DAZN. Or Canelo Alvarez says, look, man, I don't know if I can pull this off. Let me go back here and fight. Let me go fight Gennady Golovkin in a fight that I think that I can actually win. Either way you cut it, it is definitely jeopardizing the legacy of Canelo Alvarez at this point in time. He said when he was moving up to fight Dimitri Bivol that they were, well, this is the marketing word out there, that they were daring to be great, right? So you dared to be great and you did not succeed in being great, even though I agree with what Roy Jones Jr. said. You'd already won a title at 175 pounds against a reigning champion. So why would you need to do it again? Really, you just failed at doing the same thing that you had already accomplished before when you ran into a younger, fresher fighter that, according to Canelo Alvarez, you miscalculated with. Now, miscalculation. Andre Ward said, you miscalculated with. Now he's going to go fight a 40-year-old guy that on record he beat once and had a draw with, instead of fighting the guys that are really now considered the top guys in his weight class, specifically David Benavidez. And then they say on top of that maybe next year, on May of next year, he would fight Dimitri Bivol May of next year. Why would you try to freeze out Dimitri Bivol for a solid year while you get a fight when you got fight in between? More than likely, that fight with Dimitri Bivol is never going to happen. This is a full-fledged case of Canelo Alvarez tucking his tail and moving on. However, instead of doing what I think he should do, which is just go to 168 and fight the top guys at 168 and prove you're the best guy at 168. He's going to go from miscalculating, or some people would say cherry picking, up there at 175 to going back to a guy that has never been at 168 before and is 40 years old and has not looked very good in several years and going to ask a lot of money on pay-per-view to do it, instead of fighting the young dogs in his weight division. This to me just means like, okay, Canelo Alvarez is doing this, and that's just all it wrote for Canelo Alvarez, truly trying to contend and be considered the actual best fighter in boxing. Going in there against guy you're overmatched with. He maintained his pound for pound status in people's eyes because they said, oh, he dared to be great. He goes down there and fights Gennady Golovkin. That doesn't add anything to it because Gennady Golovkin is still over the hill. And then you go back to Dimitri Bivol again. If you do that to fight somebody you're overmatched again a year later, that is how many years has this been since he's fought any of these, since he's really been fighting any of the guys that should be considered top in the weight division that he belongs in, whether that's 168 or 160, years. Specifically since the last time he fought Gennady Golovkin back in 2017. And by my count, that's 2018, 19, 20, 21, now 22. He may go back in 23. So if he gets Dimitri Bivol in 2023, is he going to continue to fight at that weight class? Or is he going to come back down to 168? No, there's going to be another reason why he fights some other Eastern European or European dude and not be David Benavidez, not be Demetrius Andrade, not be Charlo. If by that time David Morrell is there, it's not going to be David Morrell. It's just a farce at this point in time, man. Just a farce. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.